once the marriage has been dissolved, because people are falling into new roles. Like I said, sometimes you have spouses that were initially just taking care of the children, primarily in charge of parenting duties, and now they are off to work.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our topic today is going to be really interesting as we talk to attorney turned divorce coach, talking about reinventing the divorce experience, divorce coaching through the eyes of a family law attorney. And today we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Julie Rountree, and I'm going to tell you about Julie. As a family law attorney, Julie has represented clients in countless divorces and helped clients navigate these challenges for over 15 years. Although she was their legal advocate, she never truly felt capable of managing clients' issues when it came to the emotional part of the divorce. Julie found herself struggling as an attorney, working with confused, intimidated, and anxious clients who were so overwhelmed with court hearings, opposing counsel's demands, and organizing financial documents, in addition to feeling the trauma of their divorce. Her clients felt helpless, and her career became stressful and demanding. She started to lose focus of her own reasons for practicing family law. After several years of needing a change, Julie made it a priority to help clients sort through the emotional parts of divorce, become more involved in their cases, and thrive in the post-divorce transition once lawyers and judges were out of the picture. She knew she had to reinvent the divorce experience by providing support to her clients, as well as guidance, focus, and tools for a peaceful transformation. Julie became a certified divorce coach and transition recovery coach. And today her practice is devoted to helping men and women who are simply overwhelmed by the divorce process and ready to gain clarity and confidence and the ability to move forward with grace. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad that we're talking about this conversation. And I love the fact that you bring, you were once a practicing family law attorney. You know the ins and outs of the system.
I do.
Why? Yeah, you do. Why is hiring a certified divorce coach helpful for someone going through the divorce process?
Oh my goodness, it is so helpful and would be such a smart move. A divorce coach can help anyone through the divorce process at really any stage. And really what we do is just walk down the path with this person, and we like to think of ourselves as a sounding board or a thinking partner, I like to call it. And we really help the person be the best version of themselves as they're going through this process. And I like to ask that question a lot to my clients. How do you want to be remembered when you were enduring this process? Did you endure it with dignity, or were there a few missteps and some speed bumps that we can walk you through? So really, just like I said, walking down the path with the person and being their support system, being their cheerleader, their champion. And my biggest goal really is to minimize their frustration, whether it's with their spouse or former spouse, with the legal system. Just minimize their frustration, help them manage their emotions, and get them making smart, sound, better decisions from the beginning that will save them money, save them time, and save them some heartache.
Absolutely. And I know that, as a former attorney, firsthand that divorces can be super expensive. So how is hiring a divorce coach a smart financial decision?
A divorce coach will absolutely save you money while you're enduring the process, and and in the long run as well. Absolutely. I remember my days as a family law attorney, and I would spend a lot of time working with clients on, these are very significant, important issues that are coming up in divorces, but they weren't truly legal issues. And we spent a lot of time on this. And, here I was having to bill my attorney rate, which is a lot higher than you will typically find for a certified divorce coach. I just wasn't, and not only was it becoming very expensive for the client, but I wasn't the proper person to be handling it. I mean, I wasn't trained in dealing with a lot of these, non-legal issues. And so basically, if you hire a coach to walk down that path with you and support you during the process, the coach will really help you start to manage those emotions, really start to manage your frustration and the conflict that comes with it. And you truly begin to think clearly and logically and really have an idea of what your goals are, what you truly want from this divorce. And that kind of passes over into, it inspires you to be, to resolve this amicably, maybe even try to negotiate with your spouse and really have a clear idea of what you need to articulate to your attorney and your legal team. And that is going to save you a lot of money. You're going to save a lot of money on unnecessary legal fees. You're going to know exactly what you need. You'll be confident about moving forward. And anytime you can save money on legal fees, that is a win.
Absolutely. And isn't that so wonderful to hear this from the mouth of a family law attorney that, financially, it can be, a big win, but what you take home and it's not always the best for the client to do that. So I appreciate that perspective. So what point do you think should an employee bring in a divorce coach?
Divorce coaches can help at any stage in the employee's divorce. So we have a lot of clients who are just contemplating divorce. They haven't filed yet. They're just considering. They have many questions about how the process is going to work. Will my children be okay? How much money am I going to need? Am I going to survive? They want to know the issues that may pop up if they do decide to file. Then we have a lot of clients who are in the middle of divorce, typically those overwhelmed by the litigation process. Maybe they don't have the support they need from their attorney. And they're, again, they're just overwhelmed and they need someone to help them figure out what their goals are and how they're going to make it out. And then, of course, we have clients that are post-divorce. So the ink is dry on the final judgment of the dissolution of marriage, and issues are still unfortunately popping up because people are falling into new roles. Things are changing. There's new relationships. There's just several issues that still pop up even when the party's marriage has been dissolved. So really, at any point, we can help the employee. What I would suggest is hiring a divorce coach as soon as you are considering divorce. And the reason I say this is it gives the coach an opportunity to discuss the steps you need to be prepared and to really be ready for these issues that may arise. And when you have that kind of support from the beginning, it really saves you a lot of time and drama and money. The best example I can think of here would be to create a budget even before you file for divorce, just to have a really good idea of your future financial picture. What is it going to look like? What's my income going to be? Am I re-entering the workforce? What do I have to earn? What are my monthly expenses? I think once you have such a valuable piece of the puzzle there, it really makes you more confident in moving forward and knowing what you're really going to need at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I agree that, some of the things, even starting a business, isn't it always better to have that plan and map it out really early on instead of making all of the bad decisions and then having to go back and fix it. And now you've just really kind of messed it all up. I know the outcome of my divorce would have been so much better had I even known about divorce coaches. And for those that don't know my story, I was actually being held in contempt of court because I couldn't get through something as simple as my financial affidavit. So I know that had I had a divorce coach, they could have helped me with that. They literally could have held my hand through that process, and I wouldn't have gone through just the emotional, just this crazy storm when there was a knock at my door and a man handed me an envelope and said, "You've been served." And that in itself was something that I hope nobody ever has to go through. That's why just having a divorce coach to help you get through all of the labyrinthine system of divorce early on is it's a good way, in my opinion, to go. So what are some of the challenges that you handle, Julie, in sessions as a divorce coach that maybe you didn't handle as an attorney or shouldn't have handled as an attorney?
That's a great question, because a lot of the issues I handle as a coach certainly did come up in my office as an attorney. Like I said earlier, these are significant issues. They're very important to the client. They're part of the divorce puzzle, but they were not necessarily legal questions or legal issues. So some of those issues that come up in my office now as a divorce coach are, again, just someone who is still considering divorce, unsure about filing. And, what are some issues that will pop up as soon as everything's filed and my spouse has been served? Here's another good one: unclear how to tell the children about divorce. How do I do this? Do we do it together with my spouse, alone? What do I say? How do I tell my parents or extended family that we are going through a divorce? A lot of my clients now just feel disorganized and overwhelmed and anxious and unfocused, and they can't, even getting to work is difficult. And so we talk about those topics as well. And we have several tool sets and great ways to get the client through that. And that's something as an attorney that I certainly wasn't trained to do.
Right.
Some other issues I can think of are clients that are really just grieving the lost relationship. Their dreams of a long lasting marriage, those dreams are ending. And so how do we cope with that? I have clients that are re-entering the workforce after many years at home raising children and don't have a resume, don't have interview skills, have no idea what they're going to do and how they're going to earn any income. I have clients that are dealing with their spouse's infidelity, maybe their own infidelity, new relationships, again, on either side. Maybe it's their spouse's or former spouse's new relationship, maybe it's theirs. So there are certainly, that is just a few I can think of off the top of my head, but there are so many issues that I was not trained to resolve and to handle as an attorney. And I just feel that a divorce coach is the more appropriate professional to handle those types of divorce issues. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but they're a little cheaper than attorneys.
They are indeed. They are indeed. And the value that they provide is something that is kind of just now coming to the forefront. And having that support, this is a labyrinthine system by design, in my opinion. And it is chock-a-block full of issues that come up, you're not prepared for. It's intimidating. This whole process is very intimidating. And what I love about what you do is help them deal with that sense of fear and anxiety and intimidation, and it's awesome to be able to have that support. So I know that you do that while you're working with your client as they're going through the divorce process, but how can a divorce coach help after the divorce is final, where an attorney does not?
Right. The attorneys are long gone now. The attorneys are out of the picture, the judges out of the picture. And like I said, there are some issues that tend to pop up once the marriage has been dissolved, because people are falling into new roles. Like I said, sometimes you have spouses that were initially just taking care of the children, primarily in charge of parenting duties, and now they are off to work. So we have new pickup, drop-off schedules for children. We have the children going back and forth to homes, each parent's home. it's basically we're there to support the client for those changes. And those are very difficult and they can be super traumatic and very overwhelming. We also, I mentioned new relationships is a big one. We have clients that have new relationships that they're happy about, and they've introduced this person to their children, and guess who's not excited? The kids they're not happy about it. The extended family's not happy about it. We work through that as well. And that's all part of what happens post-divorce, right? But it's not always smooth. So we are certainly here to walk down that path with the client, even after the divorce is final. And like you said, I'm not just a certified divorce coach. I'm also a divorce transition and recovery coach. So it's a really hard time. There's a lot of changes and it's, like I said, very traumatic. So we are here to support the client for those unforeseen changes. And it really saves them a lot of anxiety as they try to transition into a new life beyond divorce, and we get them over those speed bumps.
Awesome. And also, better communication with your ex, right?
Absolutely. So better communication is key. Anytime you guys are communicating, it inspires you to resolve things amicably and really helps those unforeseen issues just kind of stay away. And it is super helpful. And that's something we work on a lot in my office.
I hear you. I hope that everybody's starting to hear that this is like, almost like you guys you wrap your clients with like this warm blanket of support to give them the help and support that they need to get through one of life's most stressful events. It's the second highest stressful event behind the loss of a loved one. So right. This is not something that is an insignificant or, oh, this will pass. And to kind of, sidestep this a little bit, but the death of a spouse has an ending, right? And then you can begin to heal. But so often divorce issues, the divorce itself can take years, but after the fact, you're a parent forever. You don't divorce your children. So these issues can come up. So as we close, Julie, can you give us 3 tips that HR managers can maybe take back to their team right now and that they can implement that will help their employees through this divorce process?
I would say first is to just be very understanding and patient with your employee who is going through this divorce process. You are probably going to notice a drop in productivity in the employee's performance. You're probably going to notice the employee's difficulty in meeting deadlines and keeping work commitments. Like I said, just be conscious that the employee is going through some very traumatic changes right now in their life, and just be there to support them. So that would be my first tip. My second would be if you have any employee assistance programs that you can offer, please do so as soon as you possibly can. You might find that your employee hasn't told you anything about the divorce. I think employees are uncomfortable about sharing that type of personal information with HR professionals. However, if you make it known that you have employee assistance programs from the outset, that an employee can take advantage of that. And I think that's the more proper venue for them to have those conversations. And my third tip would be to offer time off when you have an employee going through a divorce, because, or even if you can look into some sort of leave policy that is specifically crafted just for divorce-related absences, that would be so helpful. Just, continue to show the employees that you support them during these unanticipated changes. They will need time off for several things: appointments with their lawyers, hopefully appointments with their divorce coaches, appointments with therapists or counselors. And of course, if they're in litigation, you have court hearings, trials, maybe depositions. And again, like what we talked about, people falling into different roles. Maybe your employee is now responsible for pick up and drop off of children where they weren't before. And so just continue to be supportive and give them that time off as they need it.
Right. Kind of a flex time, right? Maybe
Sure.
they can even make up the time that they've missed from work in other ways and at other times. I think that's a great idea. And that seems to be a theme that we're finding with most coaches and even attorneys, suggesting that, that there's some flexibility at the office. Because I know, and the statistics show us that 5% of your employees going through a divorce are going to leave. And the number one reason that they leave is because they really did not feel supported or cared for or treated in a kind and compassionate manner as they went through it. The last thing that a divorcing employee wants to hear is leave your divorce at home. Don't bring it into her, because that's asking them to do the impossible, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is certainly the last thing you'd want to say to an employee going through this.
Absolutely. We want to offer them compassion, support, and the resources that they need to get through this. And that's where we hope that the coaches at Divorce Right can come in for your company. If this is something that you'd like to learn more about, please feel free to reach out to me personally at Vicki@divorceright.coach. And we can bring experts just like Julie to your place of work. So Julie, thank you so much for this. I thought that this was a super, super awesome topic to have as we begin our podcast as to why a family law attorney would do something like this. And I acknowledge you and appreciate that you made a big shift based upon what you saw was going to be the most helpful for people going through the divorce process. So thank you for being bold and brave.
You are so welcome. I'm so passionate about this. So thank you for letting me share maybe like a day-to-day what I do here in my office. I super appreciate it.
And Julie, would you do me a favor? Just give them your contact information, maybe your website, so that they can reach out to you should they need to have a question or two, or maybe even schedule a quick appointment.
Wonderful. My website is mydivorcecoaches.com, and you can schedule a free initial session right on my site. So it's super easy and convenient to do. And my email is Julie, Julie, @mydivorcecoaches.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie, so much for being with us today. And everybody else, we look forward to bringing you more amazing content about how you can help your employees that are experiencing a relationship split or divorce. We hope that you will find us as a resource for that, and that you have found some wonderful tips that you can take back to your office. So for now, I'm going to say I bid you all adieu and wish you all a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.